So you just hit level 80 and you're looking for things to do. Maybe you're looking to gear up as fast as possible for raiding, and maybe you're trying to obtain a little bit better gear before heading into heroic dungeons. Maybe you're looking to start working on your professions, maybe you're into PvP, or maybe just a mix of all of them. In this video, I will go through a couple of things that you might want to start working on once you hit level 80 in WOTLK Classic, and hopefully by watching this video you have an additional thing or two to work towards that keeps you busy and entertained. My goal with this video is really just to show you what's available in Northrend after hitting level 80, as well as give you some tips and tricks for how to gear up fast, because I think most of you might be watching this for gearing up purposes. So let's begin, shall we? If you haven't already, start working on your Sons of Hodir questline. This questline can be started at level 77 in Storm Peaks at K3, and it starts with a quest called They Took Our Men. From there you have to complete a series of quests, probably 10 to 15 quests that overall spans about an hour's worth of gameplay, depending on how many people are doing it, and how much competition there is for mob tags. But once you've unlocked this reputation, you will unlock daily quests that are relevant for reputation, and the reason why you really want to start working on this reputation ASAP is because they offer the best in slot shoulder enchants in the game, and you want to try to obtain these as soon as possible. The daily quests will also offer you some really decent raw gold while working on that great goal of achieving those shoulder enchants, so it's a win-win scenario really that just benefits you greatly overall. Next up, keeping in line with the reputations, you might want to start working towards a relevant faction for your head enchant. Different classes, specs and roles will have different reputations to work towards here, like for example the Arcanum of Torrent, which gives you attack power and critical strike, is obtained from being revered with the Ebon Blade, while the Arcanum of the Stalwart Protector will give you stamina and dodge, and is obtained from being revered with the Argent Crusade. Arcanum of Burning Mysteries which gives you spell power and critical strike, and is therefore relevant to casters, and maybe even some healers, is obtained from being revered with the Kirin Tor. And lastly, the Arcanum of Blissful Mending, which is meant to be the healer enchant with spell power and mana per 5 seconds, is obtained through being revered with the Vermer's Accord. Some of these reputations can be worked on throughout your leveling process, so chances are that you might already have some reputation and you might already be well on your way to getting your head enchants, but if not, then now is the time to start. Next up, Wintergrasp. Wintergrasp can really offer you a lot of great stuff. You can do weekly quests for honor and gold, you can do Wintergrasp battles pretty much every 3 hours, giving you even more honor as well as Wintergrasp marks, and from here you can spend your honor on different items, for example PvP gear, or if you're not into PvP, at some point you can straight up spend your honor to purchase gems and sell those gems. You can also use Wintergrasp marks for different purposes. You can buy PvP gear, different trinkets, or literally best in slot raiding items, and you can also spend them on a mount or heirlooms. So no matter what you're looking for, Wintergrasp will offer you something useful, and if you're looking to gear up specifically, then doing Wintergrasp is a really easy way to obtain some half decent gear pretty quickly, and I would definitely recommend jumping into Wintergrasp as soon as possible, and make sure you do your weekly quests there as well. Next up, let's talk about professions. If you are running double crafting professions, you've probably been focusing mostly on leveling so far, and therefore you might not have paid too much attention to your crafting professions. Well, now is the time for you to start working on that. You are max level after all, it is time for you to max your professions as well. If you have gathering professions, chances are you probably already have max skill, if you've kept your professions up to date while leveling up, but crafting professions requires some work. Speaking of professions, if you're looking to use your professions to make gold, I have made a gold guide for WOTLK Classic with the specific intent to help you make as much gold as possible, where I cover extensively how to make gold with each profession, with both crafting and gathering. So for even more information or professional information specific to gold making, make sure to check out that guide through the link down below in the video description. Going back to gearing up for a bit, you can also gear up in dungeons, and while we do not have a dungeon finder in WOTLK Classic, so the average item level doesn't really matter, you still want to have some gear before heading into raids, so here are a couple of ways to gear up once you've hit level 80. First up, normal dungeons. This way you can obtain some really decent gear, plus you can obtain badges per boss kill, which can be spent on gear as well. Make sure to queue for dungeons where you have upgrades available, plus that they are high enough level for those upgrades to be as good as possible. Next up, heroic dungeons. This way you can obtain some very good gear and some badges, but you might need some good gear before heading into heroics, which is why I recommend doing normals first, and maybe even getting a piece of gear or two from Wintergrasp as well. Wintergrasp and other forms of PvP such as Battlegrounds, but mostly Wintergrasp due to the fast honor and the Wintergrasp marks, which can be spent for actual raiding gear. Next up, reputations. This one is more of a long-term play, but many factions will offer you items at honored, revered and exalted reputations, and the higher the reputation, the better the item will be, so the honored items are usually just regular level 80 blues, while the exalted items are level 80 epics. You also have minor reputations throughout Northland, like for example the Frenzy Heart Tribe in Sholazar Basin, as well as the Oracles in Sholazar Basin, and getting reputation with these guys can also offer you some small upgrades, and you probably want to have some reputation with the Oracles anyway, for that mysterious egg. One tip when it comes to reputations in general is to try to get friendly with all of them and buy their Tarbard, then use their Tarbard while grinding dungeons at max level, because with that Tarbard active you will passively get reputations while doing dungeons, so you can effectively hit 2 birds with 1 stone. At this point, if you're lacking some gear, I would highly recommend checking the auction house for some cheap BOE blues. You can find lots of BOE blues in the open world, inside dungeons, and even from hunting rares, so chances are there will be some cheap ones up there, especially early in WOTLK Classic because the supply will be so high. Alternatively, you can also find a lot of crafted BOE gear on the auction house, as tailors can craft BOE cloth items, leatherworkers can craft BOE leather and mail items, and blacksmiths can craft BOE plate gear. So you can either buy the required materials and find someone to craft those items for you, or you can straight up buy the crafted gear from the auction house. There's a lot more things to do at max level as well. Now is really just when the fun begins. You can start hunting the time lost proto-drake, you can start working on your achievements, get your full heirloom set ready for alt leveling, you name it, there's always something to do. Hopefully this video right here helped you out a little bit, specifically aimed at the gearing process at level 80, but also working on reputations for enchants, and also working on professions. Let me know if there's anything else you think should have made the list down below in the comment section, and while you're down there, please consider giving the video a thumbs up as well. It helps me out massively, and I honestly really appreciate it. That is pretty much it though. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.